You come across as elitist, arrogant, you're better than me, and I don't like it, period. If that's you and it's always been like you, it's unattractive. And I don't think I'm alone. I don't think I'm alone.
Okay, here we go. Lisa Marie sent me this joint right here, and we're about to talk about it. Let me go ahead and pull it up. It is a conversation about Nikki Haley. Ooh. And they about to say some things about Nikki. And listen, I'm not going to interject too much. I promise you I'm not. I know you probably think it's cap, but it's not. I'm not lying. I know I like to talk a lot, but I ain't going to talk. I promise you I ain't going to do too much talking, but I want y'all to see this right here. This is about to be dope. All right? All right? Let's go.
So a lot of talk right now is being brought up about Nikki Haley as the VP, okay? So Nikki Haley as Trump's VP, she doesn't reject the idea, says they work well together. Nikki Haley, when asked about the possibility of becoming Trump's running mate in the 2024 election, responded, President Trump and I work very well together. Why? Because I told him the truth. While she didn't categorically reject the idea, she emphasized her intention to win the Republican nomination for president, stating, I've never played for second. I'm not gonna start now, despite the openness to the idea of a Trump-Haley ticket. There's opposition within Trump's circle. His son, Donald Trump Jr., expressed reluctance, calling Haley a puppet of the establishment in Washington, D.C., and a favorite of the billionaire class. Trump himself previously referred to Haley as bird brain in a post on Truth Social. Tom, thoughts on Nikki Haley as a VP? Do you think that's likely to happen?
No, I don't think it's likely to happen. And here's the strategy. I went back. It's funny you say this. I went back and I was looking at Nikki Haley's quotes, and I was looking at her kind of campaign position statements and stuff. And at the beginning of her campaign, where she was trying to legitimize her ability to stay on stage, she was really critical of Trump. I believe that her camp, if you look at what they were reading, they thought he was dead. They thought he's not going to be on the ballot, too many of these court cases. And remember, we've crossed the lump. It's like, he's still here. Well, now, never mind Bragg in New York. Now we have Georgia. He's still here. Nothing's been convicted yet. He's still here. And now we've got state Supreme Courts and what's going on. He's still here. I think she thought he'd be gone and she was negative on him. And she now, I believe, is positioning for VP now that she's got enough leverage in terms of where she is in the polls. I think she's trying to position for a spot. And I think the people and the money around her want her to be that VP, and they want her to be the Dick Cheney in heels to do exactly what Dick Cheney did with Bush.
You know who she reminds?
And I think that's the positioning, and I think that's the play, and I think that's what's showing up right now.
You know who she reminds me of, Tom? Let me tell you who she reminds me of. She reminds me of, I'll text you the name. You know who she is. She reminds me of somebody in the insurance space, snobby, know-it-all, entitled, degree, been around the block. I haven't texted it to you yet. I will in a minute. Snobby, entitled. Do I have your attention, Tom, or are you?
He's on OnlyFans. He's on OnlyFans. Come on, Tom. Get off OnlyFans.
Be here with us.
So to me,
Her toes were cute.
she gives me that vibe. You know why she gives me that vibe? And I may be wrong. I'm so glad being wrong with this. I'm totally okay with that. Because she has presence on stage. She's very confident. If nowadays you, as a presidential candidate, don't go on podcasts, I see you as snobby. If nowadays you, as a presidential candidate, don't go sit down with other podcasts and talk and open up for an hour or two, do long form, I see you as you're hiding something.
She's definitely hiding something. I know I said I wouldn't interject, and I'm not. I promise you, I'm not. You might think, Van, you're interjecting. I'm not. It's called taking a break. I'm just making a comment. That's all. All right? Let me get to it so I can be quiet. All right. So you are hiding something. If you are going out of your way to protect yourself, they carrying you around with little baby gloves, like little mittens. Oh, we got to protect Nikki Haley. No, she can't go on this podcast. No, she can't go on this one because we can't control the narrative. She can't go on this show because we can't control the narrative. We can't be up there and what you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Potentially have a Vivek Ramaswamy moment where somebody is embarrassing her and it ruins her chances when it comes to run for president. So that was all my part right there. I told y'all I wasn't going to interject.
Guess what she hasn't done? Type in the word Nikki Haley and podcast. Go on YouTube. Let's just kind of check her out. Go type in there Nikki Haley, okay? Nikki Haley and podcast. All right, Nikki Haley and podcast. What podcast has she gone on? Okay, if you were to look her up, okay, what podcast has she done? I don't see any podcasts. So you know what that tells you? So the average person that's listening to this, you know what Nikki Haley's telling you? You're not good enough for her to come and talk to you. Because if you're a podcast listener, if you're listening to this, if you're not a mainstream cable listener, she's trying to tell you you're not smart enough for her. She's trying to tell you the only people that have earned the right to listen to her speak are the people that are on mainstream media. That's what she's telling you. Now, it may be wrong. Maybe she's going to go on the podcast or no now, but she doesn't want to do it. Listen, do I think DeSantis loves doing podcasts? I think he hates it. I think he can't stand doing podcasts. Personally, I think he can't stand doing podcasts. Has he done them? Yes. Do I applaud him? Yes. You know why? Because he's willing to go talk to you, okay? Do I think RFK likes doing podcasts? I think he does, because I think RFK is that confident. I think RFK is put me down anywhere, I'll talk to anybody. Do I think Trump is willing to go and sit down with anybody and talk to anyone? 100%. Any day of the week. He's not afraid of sitting down with anybody. He'll go sit down with anyone. Nikki Haley,
and we already know Vivek, whose podcast has he not been on? Well, I tell you one, goddammit, the LFR Family Podcast. You ain't been over here, Vivek, huh? Until you sit down in the hot seat and allow me to ask you some real questions, you can't possibly be strong enough to be our president. No, I'm just kidding. I ain't got no questions that nobody else has asked him already. I just had to put that out there.
I want to like you. I want to trust you. But the vibes you give me is you look down at people who consume podcast shows and you think you're above it. Again, maybe I'm wrong. You just give me that vibe of an elitist, entitled, has been controlled by the people of all education and degrees. And I've spoken to so many insurance executives like her the last 20 years, and they are some of the most annoying people to talk to. I may be wrong. Again, I'm willing to be wrong. I'm willing to sit down and say, damn, I actually like this girl. I actually like how she is. But she gives me the vibes that you guys down there, you know, like in these corporate executives, they're on the 43rd floor. They never come downstairs to shake hands because, it's the peasants. It's the peasants. That's the vibe I get. It's not attractive to me.
I'll add this. You're definitely not wrong. Because I would label.
Well, I don't know. I may be wrong.
No, I'm letting you know, Judge Dirty, executioner right here. You're not wrong. Because who is feuding with Nikki more than anybody?
Vivek.
Because one is establishment.
That's another name I forgot even. He'll go to any podcast.
That's my point.
Anybody.
He's in restaurants talking like
anybody.
That guy will go anywhere, outhouse.
You can tell that guy loves America. And by the way, he's richer, more successful, more educated, smarter.
Correct.
And he'll still talk to anybody.
Because look at it this way. If you just want to juxtapose Nikki versus Vivek, Vivek will go anywhere. He'll go on any podcast and mainstream.
Hold on, we can't skip that. Did y'all hear what he just now said? He said he is richer, smarter, and still going any podcast. He don't like Nikki Haley, do he? Well, listen to this one part right here. I had to rewind this one part. I told y'all I wouldn't interject. I'm not, okay? Not anymore. I've done it once, twice? Okay, this is the third time. All right, I'm not going to do it again. I
tell that guy loves America. And by the way, he's richer, more successful, more educated, smarter.
Correct.
And he'll still talk to anybody.
Because look at it this way. If you just want to juxtapose Nikki versus Vivek, Vivek will go anywhere. He'll go on any podcast and mainstream. He'll feud with anybody. Nikki's establishment. She's going on the mainstream media. She's so much more establishment than Ron DeSantis is. Okay, she's going nowhere. She's the anti-Vivek. That's why those two are feuding so much. I know that Trump called her bird brain. She's definitely not bird brain, but she's definitely a war hawk. Okay, our biggest concern with Nikki is that she's willing to go attack Iran, basically go to war with China, with Taiwan, defend Israel, fund Ukraine. She's basically Halliburton times on steroids, okay? So do I think that Trump would pick her to be the VP? I don't. Do I think that if he did call, she would pick that? She would pick up that phone call 100%. I think she's an opportunist. I think that she's someone who's basically looking to social climb or politically climb. And I think she's also sort of the exact opposite of Pence. I don't see her being a bootlicker for Trump.
I don't. First of all, I don't think he would pick her. But if he did actually pick her, I would lose a lot of respect for him because he's claimed from the beginning to drain the swamp. She is the swamp, okay? And by the way, if he does, if that does happen and he goes through, I would have a food tester on all the. I wouldn't trust that girl at all because guess what? God forbid if they go after him and for some reason they impeach, because you know that's what's going to happen right when he gets in. If he gets in,
You think she's going to pull? She's going to pull an LBJ.
She'll pull dude. Why wouldn't she? Because then
I don't know about that. All I'm saying is,
but she becomes a president.
yeah,
I'm just saying I don't trust her.
I get that. I just, to me, she just gives
They don't.
me like,
They, don't,
you
they
go
got
to
a lot of bad to
these
say about Nikki.
parties, networking parties, and
real.
you're talking to people, and it's like, so yeah, okay. And they give you that look. You know the look. So they walk. They have this.
Nigel.
Okay. Yeah. So you went over here. I went to the
God.
school. The fucking it's just like the vibe to me.
You know, Pat's fired up if he uses
No,
the F
listen.
word.
I can't stand elitists.
I mean, I'm with you.
I cannot stand elitists. I can't stand people that they think they're above other human beings. She gives the vibe of thinking she's better than other people, and it's not attractive. I'm telling you right now, it's not attractive. When you're able to do something like that, you're not willing to go talk to people because you think you're who and what? Who convinced you of that? We choose. You don't choose. But somebody has convinced her to believe that's what it is. So that could be, it could be the people behind where it's the
Koch brothers have
consultants. It could
convinced
be
her.
the money people. Go ahead,
Big
Tom.
money.
Yeah, I think you hit it, but you were about to say it, Pat, and you're exactly right. I'll give you 4 words. Consultants control establishment arrogance. Follow the line.
So unattractive.
All the consultants are out there that make millions of dollars and they make a percentage of the
Yeah.
ad spend. What do? They want to control the candidate and they want to control what they're doing. And they are going to traditional media, making big ad buys, going on TV. Vivek over the weekend says, I'm not getting return on TV, so I'm putting my money into the marketing efforts and things that give me a return so I can see that I'm moving votes to me. So consultants, they want to control the candidate and the advertising establishment. They want to go to established media. There's no value for them to come here. The consultant value, the candidates, if they understood the depth and passion and emotion and our ability to move votes and what's happening with podcasts, there'd be a line at the door every morning. But instead, that's not it. And guess what? When you put those 3 together, it's the arrogance of yesterday.
Can't negotiate with them.
It's right. You can't negotiate.
Can't negotiate
and it's
with
the
them.
arrogance of yesterday.
Trust me.
Consultants control establishment.
What a great way of
arrogance.
putting it.
It's old.
You've sat in rooms and negotiating with people like this, Tom. How are they to negotiate with? It's impossible.
It was terrible. You know, the first, I remember meeting some, and there's a couple that
Don't give names.
I'm not going to do. There's a couple where I didn't feel there was a racial element because there was some racial equality at the table. Other times I thought, is this maybe racial? Other times it was just, man, this is just arrogance. And then I would get to things where you and I would talk in the elevator afterwards, and I'd be like, good Lord, these people need to get out more. The new America that we were bringing to them for was a diverse consumer.
It's unattractive.
And then by the time you get to the lobby, I said, okay, it's not racial. It's not, the
difference between
it's not ignorance. It's just arrogance.
You know what's the difference between him and her and DeSantis? What's the difference between her and DeSantis?
He actually is.
I mean, they both wear high heels.
Okay.
Wow, he said they both wear. She said, "What's the difference between Nikki Haley and DeSantis?" And this brother said they both wear high heels. What? Wait a minute. What in the world are you? What y'all over there doing in Florida? Hey, DeSantis, answer this question, bro. What is a woman? Stop playing with me, man. What are they talking about, bro? See, the high heels thing is funny but is that something we should really be worried about? Yes, we should be worried about that. We should be worried about our president cross-dressing. We should definitely be worried about that. He had boot lifts on something, or something on. Also, he didn't have on high heels. Those were boot lifts. Okay. He wears lifts in his boots, so he don't wear wedges. All right, so they saying that those were not espadrilles that Ron DeSantis had on. Okay, I repeat, false alarm. Ron DeSantis was not wearing espadrilles. All right, those were lifts in his cowboy boots that he liked to wear. He says it is better for his calf muscles. Hispanics are short. You know that's y'all not gonna be xenophobic on my daggone channel. How about that? DeSantis was wearing lifts in his cowboy boots to make him appear taller. He had on some wedges. Okay. All right, so he had on some espadrilles. All right. Okay.
Not even baseball season. And that one's over the fence.
I had to.
What's the biggest difference? What's the biggest difference between DeSantis and Haley?
DeSantis was at least willing once or twice.
Yeah.
To dip his toe in the water with some of the podcasts, this one and others we know.
And you know when I saw that,
she won't even touch it.
And you know when I saw it, but you know when I saw that arrogance, that elitist that you're talking about, when Vivek was holding her foot to the fire and checking her, the camera was just on her. She wasn't looking there, and she was like I felt that vibe of I'm better than this. I'm not even gonna respond.
What's
to
the
that.
biggest difference?
You're a scum.
Exactly.
I trust DeSantis. I trust DeSantis. I just think DeSantis is not good on camera, but I trust him. I think he's a good guy. I don't relate to elitist, snobby, bullshit, I'm better than you to come and talk to the average person type of people, and that's her. I mean, my brand, when I look at her, in my eyes, when I look at her brand, that's her brand. Her brand is, I'm better than you, I'm smarter than you, I'm the elitist, I make the decisions, you follow my lead, I know what's good for you. I don't...
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's put Trump aside for a second. We see that you've interviewed DeSantis, we've had Vivek here, we've had RFK here, you've experienced with these people. Clearly, you're not a fan of Nikki, or at least the elitist mentality.
The approach, I'm not, and I don't think that's the way to win.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you see in the polls, she's +5 on Biden, right? So Trump is a little closer. If in a million years somehow, and I don't see this necessarily happening, it could happen, Nikki versus Biden. Would you even consider Biden
What kind
at
of a
that
question
point?
is that?
I'm just asking.
No,
you.
what kind of a question?
You just laid into Nikki.
I'm not laying into Nikki that if it's her against Biden, what are we talking about there? No, all I'm saying to her is your brand, Nikki, your camp, whoever that's watching this, you guys come across as arrogant, conceited, elitist, and it's unattractive to a guy who loves America, who worked his ass off in America. You come across as elitist, arrogant, you're better than me, and I don't like it, period. If that's you and it's always been like you, it's unattractive. And I don't think I'm alone. I think there's other people that feel the same way as I do on the way you guys are. That's what I say. If it's her against Biden, it's not even a question, because what Biden's done to America the last 3 years is a shit show. So that's not even a conversation I would be having. I just don't like listen, with my...
Hey, man, Patrick Bet-David is the real deal. Y'all better stop playing with my guy. Patrick Bet-David is the real deal. Go check out Valuetainment, man. And anybody who's growing any type of business or anything like that, or considering doing better financially, Valuetainment is definitely a YouTube channel to check out. All right? I promise you, 1,000%, if you are one of those people out there who, I guess, in the future want to make a little bit more money or make better financial moves or something like that, Valuetainment is a great platform to be a part of. All right, just saying.
My kids, if my kids give a sign, a single. We went out to dinner the other day. A relative that doesn't live with us. Okay, this was 2 months ago. Jen will remember this. This relative that we see once every other year or something like that. And we take him out to a nice dinner. This relative goes like this. Excuse me. Oh, my God.
Oh, no. To the server?
Adam. The waiter looks at me and is so polite and gentle and kind to the person because that's with me. And the waiter leaves, my kids are sitting at the table. If you already know how I feel right now, you have no idea how I feel. Just telling you the story right now, my body's in pain.
I can tell.
So the waiter leaves. I look at the person and I look at my kids and I said, listen,
why is my internet acting foolish, man?
for the rest of our lives, do we go like this to a person that's working to make the food better for us? We don't ever talk like that again. And I looked at the person and I said, we don't do that. I don't know if you do that. We don't do that kind of stuff.
You called them out right there
in
and then?
front of my dad, in front of Jen, in front of everybody. And this is a person we love and it's a relative. I said, we don't do stuff like this. And I said, Tico Dillon, I swear to God, if you ever behave like that in front of me, you don't even know what would happen if you behave like that in front of me. We don't do stuff like this. Then I got up and I walked past to the waiter and I said, hey, just want to let you know, this is my table. It represents me. We don't talk like that to people. Makes sense. Respect. I gave him a 50% tip so he don't have to, he understands that the respect that we got for them. She gives me the vibes of this. Ooh. I don't like that. I don't like that vibe. And to me, I don't roll like that. You got to give people respect. I'm a voter. Everybody else is a voter. When a person, so why do people love Joe? Why do people love Dana? Think about the people that why do people love Elon?
Because they're authentic. They're real. They say
but they have they have the ability to be an asshole to you.
Yep.
Yes.
They have the ability to be like this. And they're like, hey, how you doing?
Yep.
Well, wait a minute. Who are you? You're just because you're on a debate stage? And you went and sat on the board and you got a few $1 million from Boeing? This is what you want to do? Nah, man, that's not what. The last thing we need in America right now is this kind of a mindset. We need a mindset. How you doing? So what's on your mind? What do you think? What's going on?
What you doing?
That's what we need in America today. We don't need any of this stuff unless if you're dancing. If you're dancing, go like this all day. I don't care if you want to do it at a Persian wedding all day long. Do it.
And I'll add to that and amplify it with personal experience. If she's doing this, Nikki, if you're doing this because you're being led by the consultants and you're being coached into this is not the path to the heart of the average American and the people that need leadership in this country. I met you with Beth Van Dyne at the event in Dallas, Texas. We talked for about 15 minutes with an associate of mine that we were there, and I didn't get this vibe from you at all. And now what I see and what I see in the candidate, I'm with Pat. It's like, is this the way it's going to be? And if you're listening to these consultants, because there's a lot of dogs out there, these consultants that are charging millions of dollars, taking a skim off the ad buy, this is not what America needs. And if this isn't who you are and you really want to connect with the people, it needs to start now.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another.
That was dope. Shout out to Patrick Bet David podcast, man. There are some dope dudes on there. As you can clearly see, we are in the matrix and we're trying to figure things out. All right, but we're going to do it together, so we're going to be all right. Y'all let me know whatever y'all want me to know about this in the comments below. And if you have yet to vote for Nikki Haley, please make sure you do so. You're out the door once again.